everyone, Peter Soros here with realestateskills.com. Today I'm joined with a familiar face, Mark Rodriguez from the Phoenix, Arizona area. You might recall he just closed his first deal a few months ago. Guess what? He just closed his second wholesale deal. We're going to dive into the numbers, how he found the deal, how he put the deal together, and also dive into how his confidence has grown, how his mindset has shifted, and what this means to him and his family moving forward. I can't wait to share this story with you, so let's dive right into it. Hey, Mark, welcome back. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing pretty good. Glad to have you back. Actually, so soon after your first deal. Obviously, anyone who's watching this video, Mark closed a deal a few months ago, his first deal. So you can always go back and check that video out. But for some people, maybe this is their first time, hearing about your story. Why don't we just do a quick recap, Mark? Like what brought you to, wanting to do real estate and kind of brought you to Real Estate Skills specifically?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks again for having me on. Basically, it's just one of those timing things in life. My wife has been laid off a few times in the corporate America setting. I've always kind of been an entrepreneurial minded person and owned a few businesses in the past. And you merge us together, and me seeing her being laid off, and she's kind of what I say coming over to the dark side now of being an entrepreneur and wanting to be her own boss. So we just had a lot of good talks and basically just said, what are we going to do for our future? What are we going to do for our two new kids that we have, our two girls, and what are we going to leave them? And unfortunately, in today's market, in today's job market especially, you don't leave that to your kids. And I think that, real estate's always been something that I've always looked into, but I just never knew how or what to do. And I just always kind of said, if somebody would just show me, but most people that are out there doing don't have time to show. And this was one thing that we looked at a few programs, and we both got gut feelings that this was the one to go to due to just the way it was set up, the way the first phase interview went through with, the people that work on, getting people to join Real Estate Skills, and the vibe was just good. It felt comfortable, it felt home. And when we got in, we knew we made the right choice.
And just to, let everybody know, you didn't come from a real estate background. You came from a different industry. Tell us a little bit what industry you kind of came from.
So, yeah, my background was in mostly consulting for restaurants, nightclubs, bars, that kind of thing. If you've ever seen Bar Rescue, that's kind of what I did for about 15 years. And that lifestyle is definitely not a good one when you've got two small kids at home. So I transitioned out of that and got into more of the corporate side of franchises and helped restaurants open and train new employees, create menus, and basically just open up new stores for a restaurant chain out here in Phoenix, Arizona. My wife has always been in mortgage, and that's kind of what she loves to do. It's just unfortunately it's a volatile, industry sometimes, just like real estate. But it's something that you can ride the wave and make really good money, or you can maneuver in and out as you want to. And yeah, she has the mortgage background, and she finally got back into mortgage again with a good company, and so she has that side that I don't know necessarily from real estate. But she, the funny thing is she now hears me talking to clients and sellers and buyers. She's like, oh, you know what that acronym means and all this stuff. So it's good because it's merging our marriage, not only as a couple, but also in business.
That leads me to this next question. So from your first deal to now to this one, what kind of changes have you seen or have you felt maybe in your mindset, your confidence levels? Like what have you noticed anything changing in the way you operate and the way you're thinking even?
Yeah. Obviously the more experience and the more you get out there and just do it, the more you're going to stumble over your words. You're going to run into obstacles, but you're going to get life experience about what to say and not to say and what to do and not to do. And so I think you just have to dive into it as fast and as much as possible and just engulf yourself in the experience, not worry whether you fail or not. It's more of just getting the experience, because if you don't have a background like I do, you're going to fail. You're just going to mess up. Even if you do have a background, you're still going to hear no a lot, and you're going to hear all these obstacles that come up. So it's just better to me just to get going and do it. And I just think that the map that was laid out and how to do it was a very good, sounding board to come off and refer back to. And I think now the confidence level definitely is a little bit up more. I mean, my wife wants me to obviously close more deals, so she doesn't have to work anymore. But uh, yeah, it gives you a different range of motion in your thought process and your ability. And I really just want to go out there and just start working full time at this, and I just want to, build it as quickly as I can. I have a full time job and I work this in and around whatever I can do on days, nights, mornings, weekends. And like I said, it just takes a team to do that. So it's just been really, really nice to have that, especially with two young girls under 2 years old. So you can imagine our household is a little nuts, but, yeah, it's a good way to start, but it doesn't matter how you start. It matters how you finish.
So with that, let's dive into the actual deal. Let's start from the beginning. Where did you find the deal? Was it on market or off market?
This is an on market deal. And, it was, again, it was one of those ones where, when you go through the training, you try to get through it as quickly as possible so you can get out there and do stuff. And then, you go back and figure things out too when you come up to obstacles, things you got to remember. And I did that for, at least a month or two after I went through the program. I always refer back and make notes and go back to what my notes were. And this one was a backup offer. And it was one of those things where, like, yeah, we'll put it in. I mean, the agent I worked with, my buying agent, said that we could possibly do a backup. And I said, well, can we get that in writing? Can we get that a first backup offer? And she said, yeah, of course. And she kind of hesitated at it. She didn't know. She kind of thought it was just going to go away. And I did too. I didn't think it was going to come back. And she gave me a call on Christmas Eve and just said, hey, your backup offer is approved. Do you want to go forward with it? Are you ready to buy a house? And I said, yeah, of course. So that's why I put that post on Real Estate Skills. I'm like, who does this? Like, it's so random, but real estate never sleeps,
Truly doesn't. And this is why we always say this time of year. A lot of people slow down, but you shouldn't, because this is one of the best times of the year, of the season, to get deals. And that, knowing that you could even put a backup offer, some people don't even realize that, but that's something which sometimes it's just one little piece of advice can end up making you thousands and thousands of dollars. So you got that put in, it triggered. You said, yep, absolutely, let's move forward. So tell us a little bit about the deal itself, where you got it accepted at, the price. Tell us a little bit of just how everything unfolded after that.
Well, it's in Northwest Phoenix. And I went and saw the property, walked through it, and it's a 2-bed, 2-bath, 2-car garage, 1,000 square feet basically. And it's just an older house, but just needed to be redone. And so I reached out, did the numbers, and sent it to a few of my normal cash buyers. And some of them said, no, not quite low enough for me. I needed a little bit less, more profit margin on that, which I understand. And so I actually sent this out to somebody that reached out to me on Facebook, because I had, one of my first deals I put on a Facebook platform that I'm on with other wholesalers, and just to co-wholesale and bounce things off each other and kind of see if we, have the same buyers or not. And this guy reached out to me and on this deal and asked if it was still available, and said he had a buyer for it. And so I got to know the co-wholesaler a little more personally over the next couple of weeks, and we met and did a couple calls, and he actually got me to get in contact with his buyer. And so we co-wholesaled this deal together, and his buyer was, I don't know who the guy is, but I now have gotten to know him. And basically, he does a lot of real estate. It's a pretty heavy hitter, and he basically was ready to go from the start. And you kind of get those little weird gut feelings where, like, if you're saying this is easy for you, how is this really going to close on time? Like, and he's so busy doing real estate. I was in contact with him all the time, but when it got to the title work and got to, signing things, I had to keep texting him like, hey man, are you still there? Like, are you still really going to do this? And I didn't want to bother him, but it was more just following up and knowing when to push and when not to push, but also we've got dates to set up. And, I asked him finally, I'm like, hey, are you going to be able to fund this in like 3 days? And he said, yeah, I can get funding in 2 days if I need it, or I can do it myself. And I was like, okay, you know what you're doing, so, but somebody being brand new, not knowing him or meeting him ever, just on the phone, you kind of have to, you want to verify your buyers. And I didn't verify this guy. It was from somebody else, and to me, until somebody proves it, it's not really real to me. So.
And you were talking directly to the buyer at that point. You weren't talking to your JV.
Yes, I was. I actually, the JV partner I did this deal with had me sign like an NDA. He owns a cleaning company business, and he said he had been taken advantage of before. He thought I was going to steal his buyer in a sense, and I'm like, yeah, I don't work that way, but I understand. I've had people sign NDAs. I've signed NDAs before, just because there are people out there that are kind of shady sometimes, and so it was a really good call on him. And then he finally gave me his buyer's information, and I just said, hey, well, let's just go forward and see if we can move more deals together. This one went very smoothly, so he gave me his contact information. But I updated the JV partner of mine every step that it was going, when I got to title, how many days were left, just making sure that things were going smoothly. And he appreciated that a lot.
Yeah, no, that's huge. Even my mentors have always said over communicating, is pretty good. Obviously, you don't want to show your cards, but especially when you're in escrow, you want to make them feel comfortable that you're not going anywhere. You're there because if they start to feel that maybe you have cold feet, they might not play ball as well. So sometimes you need an extension, just to get having trouble getting the funds or whatever. But being that professional, rolling with the punches, sign this NDA. Like some people are like, oh my gosh, what do I do? You're like, yeah, sure, okay, no problem. And that's the mentality to have. As long as you're not signing your deal away to someone, then it's just business.
So we got the property at 281. I put a $3,000 EMD down as soon as on Christmas Eve, as soon as I got the notice. Well, the day after Christmas, so Christmas Day. But it was nice to have a buying agent. I've also gone underrepresented through a transaction before. My first one was underrepresented. This one was with a buying agent, and it went really smooth. And it was nice to have that confidence in her ability, and she was great, and her transaction coordinator was amazing with the whole thing. So it was really nice to have that in with them.
So you got it at 281. What were your initial numbers on this? What was your ARV coming in at your repair estimate? What was your initial? That was your initial offer? Did they counter and you had to come up?
It was 275 at first, and then I said I could go up to 280 because they were negotiating with another person. And what's funny about this property is that I actually sent it to another wholesaler that I know that does buy property pretty frequently and has a good cash buyer. And he's like, oh, I've seen this property already. And I'm like, oh, this one probably fell out of escrow, or probably fell out in the inspection period with another wholesaler. And that's exactly what had happened. And then I picked it up as a second or the first backup offer. And so with that, we just went through that transaction with putting the EMD down. We had I think it was so it was right around the holidays, Christmas and New Year's. And so I extended, the dates out a little bit. They had to close after 1/1/25, they said. So that was a help. But also we had an 8-day inspection just because of the holidays. And we had picked a closing date of January 10th, but then I got amended to January 9th.
How many days was it on market when you got it locked up?
It was on market maybe a week. No, maybe even like a couple days.
What was the repairs looking like? Was it a heavily distressed property? What was your repair estimate coming in at?
It was about 45,000 were my initial estimate. 55 if you're going to go all out, but for that area, you didn't need to go crazy with the remodel.
And the feedback from the cash buyer was like, yeah, this is pretty spot on. Or
well, I mean, it was a 2-2, and so a lot of my cash buyers don't do that. They only do 3-2s or more. And so he was okay with making a third bedroom and knew exactly where he was going to put it. He had actually walked the property before I did, and I didn't realize he was that like quick to do things. And then when you realize you got experienced buyers, that's kind of how they do it. So he knew exactly where the third bedroom was going to go. My idea to put the third bedroom was not where he was going to put it. So when he told me his, I was like, that's why you're in real estate and I'm just learning. So, but yeah, I didn't need a whole lot. No new roof, no AC, no major things, obviously, for that price point. And the ARV on that was around 400, I believe. And I'm not 100% sure if he used his own money yet or if he used hard money, because the hard money profit was way more, obviously. I'm sorry, the cash profit was way more than the hard money profit, but the hard money profit was still in the $40,000 range.
In the end, what was the wholesale fee total? And then since you JV'd, what was your cut from it?
So the total wholesale fee was $7,500. And then when we JV'd, we obviously split that 50-50. So 3,500 is what we both got. I signed a co-wholesale agreement with the JV person. And then I also signed a independent agreement with the buyer. And we both sent both of those documents to title so that none of us had to worry about the money. And they separated everything for us and paid everybody out once it was funded. The cool thing about this is that my buying agent is a good friend of mine. Well, my friend is a good friend of the buying agent, and we all met up for coffee a couple months ago. And I used her to maneuver this transaction, and in doing so, she had worked out, a deal, like a finder's fee kind of thing with me. So I'd actually made more on this deal than the 3,500.
Was there any kind of challenges other than just the NDA kind of thing coming up? Was there anything that was a curveball at any point of this? Was there anything that was extra difficult about this? Anything that stood out?
Well, I mean, one of the main things, same thing happened on my first deal, which was, the agent didn't mention anything about it being assignable. We didn't mention anything about it being assignable. My buying agent, mentioned that, hey, I told my buying agent the same thing, is I want to do fix and flips. I really, I have JV partners for that, and I'm just waiting for the right deal to like come through where I can actually take that jump and do a fix and flip. So I go into every wholesale deal talking to agents like, hey, I'm going to buy this house, whether it's me or whether it's somebody I partner with. And I kind of have that mentality when I go in to talk to people about the house. And when it comes down to signing, and getting the purchase agreement, and we do amend it, these things that did come up in the negotiations, and they, were saying that they didn't know it had to be assigned. And I'm like, well, it doesn't have to be assigned, but the partner, I mean, I went, same thing you told me on the phone when I asked you about this months ago. And it was just, sometimes we do partner together. Sometimes we JV. Sometimes I know people that keep it as a rental or they'll do something else with it. So you're, not letting me use my full network if, to get this deal done, if I can, can't assign it to somebody that I trust and know that's going to buy the home.
There's multiple ways to approach it too. That's one of the great things. You can get creative of how to still get the same outcome that you wanted to begin with. You basically tell them, oh, we're just going to put this in our sister company, so just let us know how you prefer to do that. Sometimes they'll just tear up the contract and write a brand new one. Sometimes they'll say, okay, we'll just do an assignment. Like, okay, perfect. Sometimes they'll ask you, how do you usually do this? Oh, we usually do assignment. Like, okay, great, let's move forward. So a lot of times, some agents just it's semantics. They've got some bad memories, bad experiences, and sometimes they just don't know. They're just not experienced with that. So, but again, kudos to you to get that. Anything that's been thrown at you, it hasn't been a problem, which is perfect, because again, we don't want to get emotional about it. It's always problem solve, and that's how we make money. We're solving problems for people. So that's great to hear. You closed on it last week. What's going on now? What's next for Mark? I know you got your 2 deals under you closed. I know you guys want to kind of start escalating. Are you looking to maybe do some fix and flips yourself, or are you looking to start just get into buy and hold soon? What are you guys as a family looking to do?
Well, I think as a family, we're looking to first consistently close at least 3 deals a month. Once that's consistent, I think I'll for sure quit my full-time job and just do this full time. Um, as it grows, obviously, my wife, being the more analytical type of person and in mortgage as well, she definitely wants to be, the disposition side of what we do once it gets big enough. She can't wait for it. So, I mean, it's something where she really believes in what we're doing and the proof has kind of come through. But again, just keep going at it. I've also extended my search a little bit to Michigan. I've got a good friend out there that does probably like, I don't know, 15 to 20 homes a year. And he does a little more high end sometimes. So him and I have been friends for 20 years, and I basically started doing some searches out there. He's also a real estate agent. So I've got a few agents in Michigan that set up filters for me to receive automatic day zero new listings for distressed properties in Michigan in the zip codes that he really buys in and wants to do. And he's going to buy fix and flips. He wants to buy rentals. He's going to do a lot this year as well. So I've been learning more about the Michigan, market, and just kind of doing both Arizona and Michigan. The houses are different there; they're cheaper, and it's just a different way of looking at it. But both guys that I work with out there are from there, and they've navigated me through that part. So hopefully, we'll do maybe a virtual wholesale sometime soon in the next 30, 40 days.
Well, I'm sure I'll see you on here again pretty soon then.
I hope so.
Any last words you want to leave the listeners with?
No, you kind of said it right there. Just, I appreciate all the help. You're there when we need it. The community has been really helpful too as well. So it's definitely nice to have the support, and yeah, it's definitely something you've got to build. And the more you build it, it seems to come easier because people start then kind of bringing you deals here and there, or they start seeing that you're real and you're not just this fly by night kind of wholesaler, and really building those relationships with your buyers and agents and other investors, just knowing that, you're going to do things right. And I think that's one of the biggest things I got out of Real Estate Skills was the vibe that my wife and I were feeling when we got, initial interview with, the enrollment people, and then seeing the program was just do the right thing, be a good person.
Yeah.
And,
Go figure, right?
yeah, and good things will happen. And I've always believed that, but in business, some things are a little bit different, but it's proven itself to where if you're just looking out for, your client's best interest, your, not just yourself, you are gonna, more people will see that, and more people will follow and help you out along the way too.
Absolutely. Wise words. Everybody listen up. So, well, Mark, it was great having you on again. I know we'll be doing this again soon. I can already see it. With that, take care. We'll see you on the next one.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And there you have it. We couldn't be more proud of Mark's progress. He came in here determined, committed, with a very strong why, knew where he wanted to go, and went for it. He didn't let anything slow him down. Even when speed bumps would come in, he would find a way to work around them. Momentum is very real. Once you build that machine and you get those gears going, you just got to keep those gears constantly moving. And you'd be surprised at how much progress you make once you just maintain that machine and just keep going, keep persisting, and stay committed, stay disciplined. Thanks so much for stopping by today. If you're interested in learning more about the Real Estate Skills community, head on over to realestateskills.com, say hello, and we'd be happy to chat with you. Until next time, take care, everyone.